Well, good evening and welcome to my Psychic Connection. I am your host, Journey Ryan. Well, it is finally here. It is Friday. That means we're ready for the weekend. And I got what I promised. I brought along one of my friends and longtime radio host from back in the day, back when I was doing just radio. Now we're doing lives, radio, and everything else. My good friend, Auset Gypsy. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. It's doing fantastic. It's a Friday night. The week is over.
I know.
No complaints about that.
Absolutely. Well, I've been talking about you all week, telling everybody that I had a special guest coming on board and that we did Reading to the Past together. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the gypsy way of life. So, because you are that Auset Gypsy, you're one of the few that I know. There are very few gypsies. True to that nature, anyway.
They're everywhere.
Well, true to the nature of gypsy. I've seen people that claim to be, but I've never seen anybody. You seem to know more about it. You seem to be more connected to many different things as a true gypsy would. Like me, in a sense, where I'm connected to 3,000 things and focus hard on them. You're one of the hardest people I know that worked.
It's true. It's true. I did earn my title. That's true. Well,
that is very true.
Speaking of, that's where the story begins with the name and the title, because most people always say, one, how do you say that? What does that mean? And,
right.
You know, people get a little hung up on the word gypsy sometimes when they see it. And I love all of it, because if it gets attention, then it's working.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't something that I proclaimed myself or self-titled myself. It actually, it was a gift given to me from a friend who was actually, she's Indian by descent, but, you know, American, grew up here in the States like the rest of us. And it was given to me a long time ago when I was a young reader at Universal Studios at Islands of Adventure, working for Mystics of the Seven Veils. And we had to start wearing name tags on our beautiful, elaborate gypsy costumes. And I didn't want to do it, because I felt my name, James, was a little too plain. And her name is Faria. Sure, it had a great name. She's like, no, James, you got to start wearing the name tag. They're going to start taking pay out of your salary, out of your check. And I was like, oh, figures, terrific. So I said, no, I'm going to protest. I'm not going to wear it. And one day I came to the tent. Yeah, we worked in the tent. It was an air-conditioned tent. At that, it was great. And she gave me this little box, and I opened it. And I was like, what is this? And I looked down at the name tag, and it said Auset Gypsy. I'm like, what is this? She's like, well, you felt your name was too plain. She's like, so I gave you a new name. She's like, Auset, because, well, we all know how much you love Isis, and she's your muse, but everybody knows Isis as a girl's name. She's like, so when I went to go look up Isis, she's like, I found the ancient Egyptian pronunciation of it, spelled in English letters. She goes, in gypsy, well, for the obvious, you're our house gypsy, so now you're Auset Gypsy. Is that fabulous enough for you? And I was like, well, I guess it is. And that was it. The Auset Gypsy name was given to me and born, and I wear it proudly because it was such a wonderful gift.
Absolutely. That's awesome because, you know, as my name, my psychic name has been given to me as well. And that was given to me by my grandmother. And, you know, everybody thinks that that Ryan is my first name. And I'm like, it's not. It's not, guys. Journey Ryan. Journey is first. Journey is first because I was on a journey, and that's where it came from. She knew from the beginning, along with my mom and dad. They all kind of knew that I was going to head in a direction which was not like any other direction. So when it comes to gaining names and learning these titles, that's a really cool story to go with yours. But for you guys that are just now joining us, I know that we're on many platforms. So if you guys have questions, you know how to do it. We have a chat system over here. So if you have any questions for Auset, go ahead and put him over there, and we will get to him as fast as we can. We're going to get to know him a little bit more, find out a little bit about his style, because he's one of the few that I know that I've seen you do palms and a few other things that you do. You have just a collection of different things, and I'm the same way. I just do a collection of different things, and I love how you do it. You're unique about it. You're yourself. You're true to yourself, and those are the people that I bring, here to the show and on the website and stuff. So I just figured that everybody gets a chance to meet some of my friends that I've met along my psychic journey, because you're one of those unique people that's doing the same thing. And I know that tons of, like, on your psychic journey, you have met tons of great people. And so along with your name, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are, and where did that come from? Where did you figure yourself out? Because we get a lot of those questions here.
Oh, and those are all good questions. Those are good questions to start with. Where do I begin my journey? Well, originally, I'm a kid from a mythological little city called Hoboken, New Jersey, and that's where my story starts there. And my personal story with Auset Gypsy and getting into the public eye with readings and the fortune telling, the psychic work, however people choose to more comfortable with what term. It actually started professionally for me. I believe I was about 17 or 18 years old, and friends of mine and I got stuck in New York City, and we used to just hop the turnstile to get back into the train to go back to New Jersey, and we couldn't do that because they started putting up cops everywhere. And I remember my one friend Rachel started shouting in the street, "Hey, this guy's a fortune teller, he reads palms." And I did. And so we amassed a small group of people that were impressed by seeing this young guy with all this crazy hair, and we made enough money to get a pizza, 3 drinks, and the fare home. So that was the first time I think I ever did that completely professionally, on the corners of Bleecker and Hudson and Christopher Streets, over by the Christopher Street Pat Station. I'd just like to preface and start with that origin story because it's comical, and it's on the street, and it's raw. It's New York City. It's the village, and it's one of my favorite memories. Because I could also go the route that people want to hear, and although it sounds cliche, it's part of my story too.
Right.
My grandmother was a famous fortune teller in Hoboken, where we come from. My mom's side of the family comes from the Adriatic. She came to America. I think she was 16 or 17. They jumped ship. They came over to America. She wanted to become an American businesswoman. She didn't want to live up in the mountains of the Balkans anymore, and she decided there was a better way in America. But when she got here, she did what gals did at that time. She read fortunes, and she sold paper flowers, just like the Stevie Nicks Gypsy song. And she was really well known and famous for her seances and spiritualism and fortune telling, and doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that in Hoboken in her day. And my grandmother told me all sorts of really cool stories about her. So the origin does go bloodline. It is part of our culture. It is part of the tradition of where I'm from. And, if we want to go that far back, and especially talking about styles, the interesting thing is I never had a Rider-Waite deck until much later in my adult life, because we always used old-fashioned Italian playing cards. We didn't use
that's awesome.
Yeah, the fancy tarot cards that people have today.
Right.
And the point where when I finally went out and bought my first deck of tarot cards, I was living in South Beach, Florida, and I figured there was all these new. I thought maybe I would get a job at one of them, and well, one place astrologically discriminated against me, one place sexually discriminated against me because they only hired women, and the other place just wouldn't hire me because they thought I was too young. So I was left to my devices, and I went into the one store, and I went to go pick a tarot deck. And it's my favorite deck still to this day. It's the Cagliostro deck. And when I took the box, I opened it, and it was wrapped in plastic, almost the way cigarettes are. And I didn't understand, so I opened them to see what they looked like. And the guy came flying over the counter, started screaming at me, "Oh, you have to buy those. You tainted them. They're unclean." I'm like, "Oh, look, I was at the beach all day. I just came out of the shower. I'm clean." I never heard of such superstitious oddness before.
Right.
I wanted to see what I was buying, and so I bought them. And then I hit the streets again. I went back to reading cards at late night cafes and the street and on the beach, and made a living this way. But then when I left South Beach and went back to Orlando, I was trying to find work again, and there was this one big themed restaurant on iDrive called Cafe Tutu Tango. And it's supposed to look like the inside of who's the artist for Moulin Rouge? It's supposed to be that artist's loft, and every night it's supposed to be a big party with dancers and artists and fortune tellers and this and that and everything. And I couldn't get hired there either because I was young and I was a guy. But they said, "There's a woman opening up a venue at Universal Studios. You might be perfect for that." And so I went there. And she didn't want to hire me because I was young and I was a guy, until I took out my cards and she saw the ones I was using. And she's like, "No, you're too young to be able to use these cards. Read for me." So I did. She saw that I had marked them up a little bit. And I did. I marked up my cards with extra symbols. That meant something to me. She was thoroughly impressed. And she's like, "I'm going to hire you on probation." I'm like, "On probation? Why?" She goes, "Because you're young and you're a guy, and the people in the theme park are going to want to see Esmeralda." I'm like, "All right." And she's like, "But I'm hiring you because I was impressed with your cards and that you put your own markings on them." And then she showed me that she used Austrian playing cards. So that woman, her name was Connie Gold, she hired me. She was my boss. She became my friend, and I helped her open up Mystics of the Seven Veils, which was the first fortune-telling psychic venue to open at a major theme park since Walt Disney had pushed all of that out of the way with the advent of Disneyland, thinking it was in poor taste. The muscle man, the tattoo artist, the fortune tellers, they all went when he created Disneyland. But Universal, always wanting to do something different, took the bold steps on the Lost Continent, which was kind of a mixture of Atlantis and Sinbad's village and a Ren fair, and twisted it all together to make this beautiful fairy tale like setting, which was perfect for me. And that is where I got my huge real public start, like every day doing readings to a captive audience. I used to affectionately call them fast food readings because you would sit down with somebody for 5 minutes, so it would be a different person every 5 minutes. But with the opening, the big grand opening of Islands of Adventure, we got a lot of publicity and a lot of media press. So I was on every television show in every language. I was in a lot of newspapers, a lot of magazines, a lot of TV specials, read for a lot of celebrities. And then from there, I got picked up by major entertainment agents, and they hired me to fly around the country to read cards professionally in celebrity events and big events and conventions. And then from there, here we are. That's the abridged version of Auset Gypsy.
But it's amazing, it gives you a little bit of a bridge as to, who you are, where you came from, and, like I said, you've always come across as very someone strong and knows what they're doing. That's what attracts me to these types of readers like you, those who are attracted to it, someone who's naturally gifted, someone who's strong and believes in what they say, because that's the strong key there is, seeing what you say, see what's ahead of you, but know and believe what you're seeing. Because if you're doubting it, you're gonna mess with someone's reading and can affect their life in a big way.
No, you're absolutely. And even with that fanfare, there was a lot more in between that. I was also exploring spiritual paths and just always wanting to be a stronger, better reader. And I found that it was always important to be confident. And you were correct with what you said, that through my journey, I got to meet incredible people. Now, trust me, it went to ends of the extreme of the spectrum too. Some of these people were sincere, amazing, talented people that I really was so fortunate to meet and work with, and they became mentors, they became friends, and then eventually they became peers and work colleagues. And some of them were shysters, and some of them were pretty shady, and some of them
Yeah.
were, less than honest. And so it was like, what was that island that Pinocchio goes to? Like it's always a
I know
party
what
or
you're
a
talking
festival or
about.
something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it
The
off the
Pleasure
top of my
Island. He goes to Pleasure Island. That's what my life was like. And the thing is, always being confident. It was always important for me, even as a teacher, when teaching metaphysics or tarot specifically, is to create confident, proficient readers, because I was fortunate enough to also learn from the best, and they were patient with me, and they wanted me to be confident and proficient, and that was passed on. So I passed that on as well too.
All right, that's so awesome. Now you do have a shop. I was telling everybody a little bit this week, not giving too much away just to build it up but you do have a shop. And where is that located? Because I do know that we do have some Jersey people, and I just seen NYC. So you got some close people around you that may want to have the chance to walk in your
Hey,
shop.
I do, just like the logo on the shirt. Auset Gypsy, you'll find this in the window. I've had a couple of locations, but my recent incarnation right now is in this absolutely charming and beautiful little tourist town. My mother's affectionately dubbed the Hallmark Channel movie town. We are right on the Delaware River in Hunterdon. She asked me, she's like, "This is a set, right? It's not a real town." And I was like, "Ma, it's a real town." She's like, "Nah, it looks like something I watch in a Hallmark Channel movie. This ain't real." I'm like, "It's real, Ma." And it's called Frenchtown, New Jersey. It's about 20 minutes north of Bucks County, which houses New Hope and Lambertville. Those are pretty popular destinations in this area. And it's just the cutest little town. It's very progressive, very artistic, like really support their art. And I found this location found me during the midst of this whole pandemic, because
Right.
I had my previous location in Easton, Pennsylvania, and then when that got wrapped up, when everything shut down, put everything in storage for a while, and I honestly said in a meditation, I'm not looking anymore. It has to come find me. I'll walk halfway, but I'm not looking for anything right now.
Absolutely.
And lo and behold, I get an email from two business owners in the town saying, "We heard you closed up in Easton. There's a store left in Frenchtown. It's waiting for you. Come see it. Come grab it. We want you here." So I was like, well, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
Right.
That's halfway.
Don't
And
ignore
I went to
that.
look at it, fell in love with it. You can. I mean, it was blatant. So went down, checked it out. Before I knew it, I was signing leases and decorating the window for Halloween in August. And it's been great ever since. So yeah, it's Auset Gypsy, or in full, the Auset Gypsy Metaphysical Emporium. I'm located in Frenchtown, New Jersey. It's scenic, it's charming, it's a river town, there's a bridge, there's a farm on the other side of the bridge. They sell Christmas trees at Christmas time. They do produce and things in the summer. It's just the cutest little place. If you like art, if you like music, if you like, the unique, you're going to love Frenchtown when you come out for the day.
Nice. Well, that sounds awesome. And so for all you guys who just heard all that information, if you're in the area, don't hesitate to stop in and see Auset Gypsy. Also, just take a look. He's got fragrances. He's not telling you about the slew of stuff that he's got in there. He also does readings. And so, guys, don't forget to stop in there and check it out for sure.
Well, I will not be shy about that. No, you're absolutely right. I did make sure that the main feature and component is the Auset Gypsy brand of metaphysical inventory. And yeah, one of them are perfume and cologne line that I created. And one is called Luna and one is called Soul. they're unisex.
Mhm.
And although I did maybe intentionally create the lunescent to be more inspiring for women and the soul to be a little more inspiring for men, it
Mhm.
seems I did something and it swapped itself. Most of the men love the Luna, most of the women love the soul, and the soul fragrance ends in a very spicy kind of note,
Mhm.
and the Luna ends in a floral note.
Mm.
And but for some reason, it's well in both chemistries and pheromones. It helped me put my herbology and aromatherapy certifications to good use, and whip up some 21st century practical magic into colognes and perfumes. I also have my own candle lines of meditation and spell candles, aromatherapy candles. I have on the go travel candles that are inspired by old folk remedies, old like magical folk remedies. So, if you need to be a little witchy on the go and discreet about it, and you can't
Right.
make everything look like Carrie's mother's closet, you can certainly just carry this little can around, light it, and release your magic, and nobody has to know.
Awesome.
T-shirts, of course, and then of course the readings are the meat and potatoes of Auset
Yes.
Gypsy always. So when people come down, they can have a reading face to face with me, and it's in this cute, enchanting little space with floating candles, and it's quiet, it's private, it's cozy, and I always look forward to booking people for tarot
Mhm.
card readings. You can have 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and your choice of tarot readings, astrology charts, and palmistry readings. So, yeah, you're right. I do offer the whole board of
Right.
divination. And I like to be housing a medium there. I don't do the mediumship work. I like to give that work to people who are specifically mediums because I find that that's such an intense specialty that I
Mhm.
I only go near that when it happens naturally. I don't go looking for that. But I do work with a fantastic medium named Nicole, and she's going to start science there as well too.
Awesome. That's so awesome. And that's what I was telling people last night when not last night, Wednesday night, about mediumship. You need to be in tune with that and know what you're doing, because mediumship can be dangerous. So, it's best to know what you're talking
It
about
can.
and not give, like, A, wrong information, B, talk to the wrong spirit, and then give them the wrong information. So, I mean, there's always a warning sign with things, but that's why it's best to know. So,
I agree with you, and I take mediumship really seriously. And again, because of all the experience I've had in working in so many places and working with so many people, I've seen some really incredible stuff, and I've seen some really bad stuff.
right.
And so I never put it out there. I'm always honest about that. There are charlatans out there, and
Mhm.
it's in every category of life. But when you do find a good medium that's trustworthy and really knows what they're doing, hold on to them, because a lot of people want to do it for attention. A lot of people want to do it with good intention. A lot
Right.
of people pretend like TV has done a number on that
Yeah.
on that particular specialty. And, everybody wants to be that, and it does get a little dangerous. So yeah, I'm really specific about mediumship. It's just a
Yeah,
particularity of mine.
I've seen a lot of TV that's thrown some numbers on some of the things that I know, and I'm like, that's not how that works. But
It's true. It's true. TV, has its pros and cons. You can't,
sure.
if you're going to watch for example, a TV show like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the haunting adventures, or the dark adventures, or whatever it's called, of
Yeah.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, you have to watch as entertainment. But some people, this is their window into the metaphysical or occult world, and they want to copy that. But that's television. That's like saying, you want to copy I Dream a Genie or Bewitched, and these are absolutely sincere, lovable shows in pop culture. And would we all like to live in Genie's bottle? Yeah, of course we would. I have 10 of them in my closet. I'm still trying to climb in one. And But the thing is, that's comedy, that's entertainment, that's Hollywood magic. Harry Potter is Hollywood magic. Real life magic and metaphysics and the occult is something very different. And here's the funny thing: the first time I ever went to the wizarding world of Harry Potter, a friend took me for the opening weekend, and we were walking around the Diagon Alley. Now, look, I'm going to admit, and if you've heard me talk about this in other media, I've never seen a Harry Potter movie, because while those movies were running rampant and popular, I was out in the world actually living out the metaphysical dream. So I never had a chance to watch these movies, but I know who the characters are and I know the gist of the story. So I'm in the Diagon Alley and I'm like, oh yeah, this is so pretty. It's so cool. I love it. A friend was like, I thought you'd be more excited about this, James. I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest, it kind of just looks like work. Like, this looks like all the places I work in. They look like all the metaphysical shops, and they look like, I'm quite familiar with this. They've just done it in a really pretty way. So my friend laughed. But the thing that I noticed was the Diagon Alley and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was really going to give real-life metaphysics and metaphysical stores a run for their money, because I went over to a water fountain to get water. No water would come out. And it was a beautiful, ornate fountain with a mermaid in it. And this little girl came over in this very, like, Amicus movie style, Roger Corman movie style cloak with a wand, and started spouting out some Latin gibberish and doing sigils in the air with her wand. And all of a sudden, this fountain came to life and gave me water. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, they sell... wizards' wands in metaphysical shops, but they don't turn on water fountains. I'm like, I think Universal Studios just did in the average everyday metaphysical shop. But that's Hollywood magic. And, we have to always discern the difference between entertainment and fun and the true work metaphysically and with the occult and mediumship. There's a real responsibility to it. It needs to be approached with reverence and respect. It doesn't always have to be Tao, but it should be approached with respect and not arrogance.
Absolutely.
Maybe I might be a little fashioned in my view with that, but I see TikTok witches, and I see the way social media has transformed the landscape of physics and the occult. And sometimes I don't know or understand exactly what I'm seeing sometimes these days.
I tried to tell some people, we had a girl she came and she was talking about some things that she had done, and she had me do a reading on it to see if it was going correctly. And I honestly didn't see what was happening to that person as to what this so-called spell had done for them. And I was like, I don't see any type of, interference. I don't see that type of magic surrounding you, but I'm going to say thank God that it didn't work, whatever they were doing, whatever, smoke and mirrors they were doing at that time, because, it was really going to interfere with the positivity that was coming their direction. And that's why I was like, you guys have to be careful with that are out there that are going to, $45 and I'm going to do this, this, and this, or $500. I've seen people charge $4,000 for, lighting a candle. And I'm like, what are they doing? They're like, oh, they added the spirit to it. I was like, first of all, you're not adding an entity to a spell. That's not a good sign, first of all. You don't add the entity. Magic is energy.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe some of those people out there that have the confidence to charge $3,000, maybe I need to up my game a little bit. Maybe they're doing something right. But it certainly does come down to a matter of personal belief.
Right.
Going back to the beginning of our chat, and you were talking about introducing me and the topic tonight about talking about the gypsy way of doing things. And this has become more in the last couple of years than ever before in my whole career with this, where people are really getting hung up on the word gypsy.
Right.
So when I do classes, when I do presentations, or if I do interviews, I explain to the people, I'm like, well, we have to understand a couple of things. being from the point of view of Americans. I'm like, here in America, certain words have different definitions. I'm like, and if we're going to explore the word and use of the word gypsy, I explained it to everyone the way it was explained to me by my great cousin Jack. He's a really old man from, from the old country. And he explained, just understand there's lots of different groups and there's lots of different people. And, it's not just one thing. And an American definition of the word gypsy, one of the definitions is a nomadic daydreamer, the wanderer, the minstrel, the poet, the bohemian. And then, of course, one of the definitions also is the, ethnic term of a Romani person. And then, the other one is a slur, like, like you're a tramp, like you're lazy, like, you're a thief, or, no good, depending on how it's used. And, then of course there's Stevie Nicks' version and definition of gypsy, her. And people get really hung up and stuck on this. Yes, gypsy are a real group of people. And there's an old adage the gypsy people say, and I know it, is that all Romani people, they're their own tribe with many different tribes underneath that umbrella. All Romani are gypsy, but not all gypsy are Romani. Now, the people, my descendants, or what I'm descended from, we would be categorized under nomadic, maybe gypsy. The family used to laugh when people would say the word gypsy and say, no, we're not, but yeah, we are. We're something else. Don't worry about it. You're American now. Forget it. This is what we would hear. Because the people we come from is a very small group, and we do live scattered all over. And, there's such a small group of people. It's not that we don't have our own identity. It's just there's not enough of us concentrated in one place to make our own country, or to really have a weight. So, we do have our own traditions. We do have our own ways. Most of us, like my family going back, is from Dalmatia, which is in Croatia now. And back then, when they lived there, it was Yugoslavia. Or as my great cousin Jack used to laugh and say, well, they used to have to wake up in the morning and read the newspaper to find out what country they were in, because the borders were always changing due to the wars and politics. And it's true. My great-grandmother, she came from the mountains up in the Balkans, and our official names is Armani, and not to be confused with Romani, different groups, different people. Armani or Vlach, and I don't know, not many people know who we are. I mean, maybe if you come from like Montenegro or Albania, northern Greece, Macedonia, more people are familiar with us, but outside of that, no. Especially coming here to America, it was always stated, our great-grandparents came here to America to become Americans. That was their gift to you. Be proud to be American. And that's America. We're the melting pot of everything. And so that's my backstory, or especially on my mother's side. On my father's side of the family, everybody's Italian. We come from Naples and Mont St. Giacomo. So I know where my grandparents and great-grandparents come from, and the rest of us, well, we just come from the mythological city of Hoboken, New Jersey, because that's where everybody met. Which in itself, when growing up, I kind of skipped this part of the story earlier, and this is the interesting part of the story. When growing up in Hoboken as a little kid, I did catch Old World Charm Hoboken, which were the great-grandparents and the grandparents of immigrants from all over. And a lot of it was European, which would include Italy or the Adriatic, Germans, Irish, and then we had a lot of the black people come up from the South, and they moved into Hoboken, and then we had a lot of Puerto Ricans move off the island, and they came into Hoboken. So when I was growing up, I got to see this incredible display of all these spiritual traditions, you know, down by where we live, down by the projects. To this day in Hoboken, they still have a life-size, enormous, in Italian, it's called the Lari Shrine, but to the Santorians, or to the people from there, it's like the Orishas. It's, you know, they have the shrine
Right.
to their spirits, and you would see the men and women come out every morning and open the doors and clean it and put fresh fruit and light candles and do prayers and decorate their statues. It's beautiful, and it's still there. You know, then we have this interesting, strange pagan Roman Catholic beliefs from all the little villages where our families were from, because our
Right.
churches were created. The people who came from those places, they weren't just there, and, you know, come on in, the doors are open. And so we had our own beliefs and practices. And then as time went on, as yuppies started moving into Hoboken and more white people from the suburbs, they didn't understand what the hell they were seeing with all this. They thought it was a bunch of witchcraft and voodoo, and they wanted all the churches cleaned up. So with new priests and with new nuns, they started cleaning up more of our old-fashioned ways. And you know, the Black Madonna was very popular where I come from. So I knew who she was long before Dan Brown put a book out to the world. And I remember one specific story where, getting on a plane during the heyday of the Da Vinci Code, I sat down next to a guy, and I figured, let me make nice, because I'll probably have to use the restroom at one point. He might be asleep, and I'm going to have to climb over him. So he better know, you know, who's climbing over him. So we got to chatting, and he said, you know, look, I'm really into this book. It's really popular right now. I want to try to get as much of it read while I'm on the plane. I'm like, don't worry about it. I have a book. I really want to read it, and I'll leave you be. And I'm like, well, what book are you reading? He's like, oh, Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code. Have you read it? And I was like, no, I know the gist of it. I know it's a story about, like, the descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and, you know, the Black Madonna, and this, that, and the other. And he shut the book real hard. He's like, you told me you didn't read the book. I didn't get to that part yet. You just ruined it for me. But I was ignorant and innocent, because where I come from, we kind of knew all that stuff already. And I thought everybody knew this, but it wasn't true.
Right.
So that kind of ruined the book for that guy. He didn't talk to me for the rest of the flight. But, you know, there was a lot of that in Hoboken growing up. There was a lot of voodoo. There was a lot of Pentecostal. We had our Hindu section. We had our Jewish section. We had everything. So growing up in this mile-square little city, I was fortunate enough to see, you know, the old Italian witches doing their thing, and we'd go see them first before we went to go see a doctor. And you didn't need to, it was like living in a tiny little condensed version of Europe, you know, and then you're friends with everybody and whose grandparents do what. And it was, you know, everybody liked astrology, and everybody liked palmistry, and everybody was into the cards. And we all have this, in the Italian side, we have this really deep philosophy in how we look at it. And I love to share it with people. And it just goes something pretty heavy like this. It may work, it may not, but you just believe it. Just be safe.
Right.
That's how it goes.
That's pretty much how that one works, too. I mean, it's up to you to take the information and run with it. If not, you were warned.
Yeah. But, you know, here's the thing that I talk about a lot, too, and I just did a little Auset Gypsy rant on my Instagram page, talking about owning and being responsible for your actions. I did not grow up a New Agey kind of guy. When I was introduced to the New Age gang and the Wiccans, I was in my late teens, and I was introduced to this by visiting my friends in the suburbs. Now, Hoboken is a little city right on the Hudson River. New York City, Manhattan is my backyard, if the people are unfamiliar with that geography. So when I was a kid growing up, I lived on the block with the poultry shop. So these little Italian, Spanish, Yugoslavian, and some black women, all the widows, they'd all go to the poultry shop, and they'd have dinner in one hand, and who knows what they were doing with the other. So
Right.
it's true. It was really true though. And
I know.
um, so you had to kind of go around to get your stuff. The first time I saw a New Age store, I was blown away because it was almost kind of like, wow, it's like the Kmart of metaphysics. This is incredible. You have all the stuff in one store. You know, we didn't even have a supermarket in Hoboken at that point. You had to go to all the individual little bakeries and fish market and, you know,
Right.
the book and stuff like that. So, you know, to gather candles or herbs or to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you didn't have one store. You had to make do with what you had. And so when I came across the New Agers, it was very odd to me. I was really entertained and kind of freaked out at the same time because I almost thought at one point, well, they're very fake. They're very phony because all this love, luck, and angels and lollipops. I'm like, how is this helping anybody? Because, you know, we used to go get our cards done or our palms done, and the old lady or the old man would look at you and look at your hand or look at your card and look at you and be like, you know, call you out on things and say it directly to your face and be like, oh, okay, all right, you know.
Right.
And
That's true.
then yeah, it was very direct. You know, the death card, for instance. You know, when I
Right.
first was introduced that to us, the death card was the Ace of Spades. That popped up in a reading. That person looking at those cards is going to look and be like, well, you know, someone's going to die near you, right? We're like, oh, great. I'm going to figure out who. But then with the New
Right.
Agers, they were like, you know, things change. I'm like, change of what? You know, just change. And I'm like, oh, that's too vague for me.
The same way. I come from those old ways as well.
So you know, you get it. And I think when people were trying to be too polite, they kind of lost a little bit of the authenticity and the honesty. And I've had this problem with certain communities where I'm either like the Maleficent of the group, I'm not invited. People know who I am, they like me, they don't like the way I speak or the way I perform sometimes because it's direct. I would never be rude to someone, and I would never do anything to shock someone or make somebody feel bad. I'm as diplomatic as possible. I'm an Aquarius. There's no other way to be. So I do
Right.
choose my words. So I'm not irresponsible. But like I said before, I was raised in a place where you are responsible for what you do. You have to own what you say and you have to be direct. Just don't be rude about it. Be polite. You know, you're talking to another human being who's sitting on the edge of the seat. And,
Deliver is
you know,
everything.
yeah. You know, it's like I always say when I teach tarot, I'm like, you know, if you're a beginner or a seasoned pro, it doesn't matter. The minute someone sees that deck on your bookcase or your desk or your kitchen table, and someone, whether they're a devout believer or the biggest skeptic, they're going to say to you, oh, you read those things? And you don't know deep down inside if they're listening to every word, if they're going to follow it, you know,
Right.
verbatim, or you have to be careful. You know, it's a big responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell that with everybody, and and even with my students, I've told them, I was like, listen, when you're looking at a reading, know what you're about to say. Even if you have to take a second, stand back, and go, okay, this is what they need to know. It's a bit of a it's not a great message, so how am I going to deliver this message? But know that behind that message, there's a reason for everything. Things happen, but we can get through it together. If you need me to be here for you, I will. But this is going to happen. So you've now got the heads up. There's a possibility of changing a certain situation. Some things you just can't change. They're meant to happen.
But then that's life, right? And
Yes.
again, like you said earlier, it's about being confident, you know, be confident in what you deliver, you know, so that the person doesn't walk away confused or feeling worse than they may have before they sat down. And I think another interesting debate these days is tarot card reader the 5-cent psychiatrist? Are they the grief counselor? Are they paid for their time to tell you what you want to hear just so that you feel better? This is an important thing too. Now everybody's different, and everyone's going to go about the way they read their own unique way, and that's fantastic. You know, I encourage that, and I hope to see more of that. But the public too, sometimes, you know, I'll get people come straight to my face in my own shop, or if I do events or conventions or stuff, and be like, well, you'll do this for me for free because only real people do this for free. And I'm like, well, you know, that's not entirely true. I'm like, you know, if I choose to do this for you for free, it's because I choose to. I'm like, but, you know, like any other professional, you're paying for the respect of the time of that person. And, you know, it becomes a very temperamental thing. And, you know, a lot of people have these superstitions about the reader. They come and they're like, oh, you're only supposed to tell me the good things. You're not supposed to tell me the bad. Like, these people come in with a barrage of requests all of a sudden. And, you know, one woman came in with this crazy list of requests. And at the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm like, do you also want me to sing Send in the Clowns? And she was like, what? I'm like, well, that was a really long request list you had. I'm like, do you want to let me do what I do and trust me? Or, you know, do you want me to sing Send in the Clowns at the end as a request too? She laughed, and then she
broke the ice for her. She felt a little bit more confident. You know, we get a lot of people that, you know, walk through the door because they're so nervous about, you know, because of the movies that led you to believe that, you know, certain things are dark or certain things are evil or people shouldn't see the future. You know, I tell a lot of people, and I get this mainly through the Christian belief, because they've been told that this is a part of witchcraft and things of that nature. I said, you do realize that those prophets that wrote these scriptures that you read in this Bible were doing the same thing. They just didn't at the time have that title, you know, and that they were capable of speaking, you know, to the angels, to, you know, who you're calling God. You know, it's a cycle that hasn't stopped. I mean, there's just more people in the world, so you're going to see more people that are in tuned. And as I tell everybody, it's like everybody has a psychic ability, but we all use it differently. Someone's better with numbers, someone's good with words, someone's good with, you know, color, someone, you know, we all have different abilities and we use them in our everyday lives. And if we actually took those gifts away from ourselves, we'd actually be lost. And I was telling a few, you know, quite a few people that the other day, and, you know, they were like, really? I can do that? I'm like, you're really good with numbers. You know, someone that's good with numbers like that, they can see the patterns. It would be great in numerology. And I'm assuming that's what you're picking up. So, I mean, there's just lots of different ways. Some of those people become accountants. Some of those people become bankers. Some of those, you know, they just do different things. And, you know, I think it's wonderful, and I want people to see that they have the capability, and it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you become. You start to see different patterns. You start to put things together that make more sense. Be like, oh, that's why this has been happening this way this whole time. Now I know what I'm doing. So it's just being taught and learning how to use your gifts in order to, you know, move forward. And some of us, we continue to work on it until we got to the stages we are now as readers. And like I said, I was talking about your shop, and, you know, how I know that you know, I don't refer people to many other people because I know the ins and outs of it. And I'm like, you're not who you say you are. So I'm going to be nice and hold my tongue because I don't want to embarrass you. But when I see a good one, I don't have a problem name dropping there. So
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very sincere, and I'm very flattered. And you know, I love what I do, and I promised myself, kind of like a performer getting on a stage, every time I sit down with somebody, if I don't get that little tinge of nervousness in my stomach, the day that doesn't happen anymore is the day that I put all this away and do something else. Right. And I do. I sit down with people and I still do get nervous because A lot of people love giving themselves titles. The master tarot card reader, the master astrologer, the master Reiki, the master this. I don't think in one lifetime it's possible to master all the metaphysical arts.
Right.
It's so much bigger than us. Why it takes us so many lifetimes to accumulate all the different knowledge and wisdom that comes across with it. I won't deny that there are people that are absolutely incredible with what they do, and they are gifted and skilled and devout and believe and live it and breathe it, and they do a lot with it, and that impresses me and inspires me and influences me to go on. To what you're saying about people who get bent out of shape or hung up on reading the future. I was just having the conversation earlier before coming on your show, and what I was explaining is I find that people want to come in to find out about their future, but it's not so much this decided future that comes up more often than the decisions that you make in the present are going to completely be impressionable and determine your future. And 9 times out of 10, when I sit down to do readings for my clients, and it's about what's happening at the moment now, before moving forward. There are lots of roads that lead to Rome, and the cards or whatever method of divination someone's going to use, they can use all of those to see and test the many different roads to the destination, so that you can choose and incorporate, or throw your hands behind your head like this and go down the water slide of life and just see where the fates take you. You always have to leave wiggle room for the fates. They're fickle. They might change their mind at any moment and completely bushwhack the whole thing and go in a different direction. We're not creating the fate for these people. Fate is created for them. They have to figure out their path to get to their destiny, and these are just little clues and mile markers and signs to watch out for along the way. I find that a lot of readers get nervous because they feel responsible for the person they're reading for to make it to their destination as it was seen on that table. But that's not the point. You're not there to hold their hand to that. You're there to give them the advice in a trustworthy manner and leave it up to them, because they have their free will as to what to do and where to go. Whenever I get a group of people, they come to the shop, we'll say 3. There's 2 that really want to get their cards read, and there's the one that's like, I'm a little nervous, and the other one's like, come on. And I always stick up for the one that doesn't want to do it, and I'm like, no. The 2 of you, I'll do the readings for. Your friend can sit in the lobby and wait or look at the books. I'm like, they're not ready. They come when they're ready, and that's it. Don't force them. I'm not going to take them today, even if they change their mind. And 9 times out of 10, the 2 friends are like, oh, all right. And then the other friend says thank you and comes back in private.
Right. That's awesome. Well, we have a lot of people here, and we got a lot of people asking some questions. Would you be willing and open to taking some questions tonight?
Go for it. Yeah, let's hear some questions.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of people that are saying hello, so let's
hello.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people on here from all over, all different places. We got Phyllis. Hey, Phyllis. Hey, Jasmine. Hi, Emily. Phyllis again.
We will show you the world.
Exactly. And we got JoJo. Hey, JoJo. What's going on? But we got people from Facebook. We got YouTube. We got Twitch, and people from all the different platforms that'll be asking questions. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of these questions out, and I'll put them on display for you. So if you guys are ready to get a small read with Auset Gypsy, he'll be more than happy to answer some questions. Remember, mediumship, general reads, things like that, they tend to take a little bit longer. So try to have a specific question that you may want to get a little bit of insight on, and then we'll go from there. We're going to try to get to as many as we can, and then from there we will ask Auset to come back with us and join us again. And if you want, you can always stop by his shop if you're in the New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey area. So
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about the location. It's this perfect meeting point from Philadelphia and New York City. So it's fantastic because I get people from the whole region that you just mentioned, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, and beyond, believe it or not. But
yeah,
it's the perfect meeting point because it's the same exact distance from New York as it is from Philly. We get a lot of people from Long Island and upstate New York, northern Pennsylvania, South Jersey. It's just fantastic. And let me just mention one more thing before we go into a couple of questions and wrap up the evening. I wanted to tell everybody that the Auset Gypsy Tarot deck that has been a lifetime in the making is finally debuting and dropping April 26th.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. You can go to my website, AusetGypsy.com, and you can take a look at it there. You can go to my Instagram and look at it there. My Facebook, you can look at it there. You can go to Schiffer Publishing. You can look at it there. You can go to Amazon and look at it there. You can go to Books A Million. You can go to Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere right now. It's available for pre-order, and it will drop on April 26th. It's just to wrap it up real quick, tarot contemporaries of mine, authors, kept saying, when are you going to join us in authordom? And I was like, what am I going to write about? You people wrote everything already. It'll be plagiarism. I'm like, I don't know. My life is really so much an authentic book more than it is a comic book. And then it dawned on me, that's my book. I don't need to write a book on tarot. I need to create a tarot deck. And the Auset Gypsy Tarot deck has become my autobiography. But that doesn't mean that a reader will just get stuck in James's world. It is created for everybody to use. It's robust in color. It's romantic. All the illustrations are originally my design. However, I did hire 2 other artists because I absolutely love their modern contemporary style to bring my work to life in a different light. And it just came out beautiful and fantastic. So it's a 78 tarot card deck. It stays true to tradition because I'm a traditionalist when it comes to tarot. The minor arcana is a nod to my old Cagliostro deck and similar to my old Italian decks I used to use, before being introduced to Rider-Waite Smith. Rider-Waite-Smith, can't forget Pamela. If it wasn't for Pamela, that deck wouldn't be anywhere. And so it's an old-fashioned minor arcana, and the major arcana is just absolutely stunning and beautiful, and it comes with a 100-page book, so it's a tarot deck book set. You can see the whole thing on AusetGypsy.com. When you look up Auset Gypsy Tarot, click there, and you can get a sneak peek at it. And there's going to be, in addition to it, a audio and audio video podcast instructional that will give more details and more behind the scenes depth to the deck and kind of be a tarot instructional as well too. And there'll be plenty more things to come. So if you follow me on my social media or, click on my website every now and then, those things will be updated. So voila, there we go. The Auset Gypsy.
Awesome. That's so awesome. I have 2 decks out at the moment, and I'm working on a third, which is a little bit more unique. And it's a little bit more unique, and I'm putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this one. And I can't wait to be able to share that with you. But I definitely want to sign up to get a deck of yours because I think that'd be absolutely amazing. So I always love to grab and gather different types of tarot. As you can see, I got millions of them. I just love seeing the So I just love seeing the uniqueness, the energy in which you bring, because there's always the base of what everything means, and then there's always that you put that little extra of who you are into it as well, which just gives it so much more character. So
well, we're contributing to the tapestry of the tarot. You know,
Absolutely.
after we're long gone, our spirit will remain in the card deck. You know, it's
Absolutely.
true. A piece of
Absolutely.
be there. And then, like, you know, in 80 years from now, somebody will make some creepy movie about us and totally misconstrue our work.
Right. And then we'll end up being some like dark seer somewhere in a corner taking souls, you know. Maybe we should get together to write a
To the
story.
Amazon song. I can't wait. Goal, my dream come true.
All right, so guys, go ahead and we're going to start answering some of the questions. I do have a small list here. We're going to just grab a few questions tonight and answer those. Again, we are here 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. We start at 10 p.m. Eastern. I know we got people from all over the world, a lot of Ireland and London and Australia here that join us that night. And we thank you guys from all over the world. And I know that you guys try to get in as fast as you can. 'Cause sometimes it's either really late your time or really early your time. So we try to get to everyone. I do know this now, as of here recently, if you go to the group that you're in, the page that you're in, and see the lineup for the next show, I would say it's only about an hour before the show starts. If you want to put your question in ahead of time, you're capable of writing in your question. And as we log into the show, the questions are available for us. A couple of you already know that, and that's kind of how we got that information. I wasn't told that we could do that, but now I know. So, but we're gonna get going. We're gonna ask a few questions and get ready for that, guys. So let's go ahead and let's take our first question. And our first question, coming from Selena on YouTube, says, "Hi, well, Faith was absolutely correct when she said there would be an argument over my sister's behavior last night. So early this morning, she crashed yet again, but this time she crashed my dad's truck into a guardrail. I'm sorry about that. Supposedly, he didn't threaten to kick her out, but didn't and just said if she shows up with a beer or drunk, then she's out. My question is, when will that happen?" Okay, well, that's a lot of information.
But that sounds like a very serious situation.
Mm-hmm. Taking a look to make sure she didn't say anything else. Yep, that was it.
When will that happen? When will exactly what happen? The next time the poor sister finds herself in a unfortunate situation?
He's wanting to know when will that sister show up drunk or with a beer in her hands and is continuously acting as she has been. She said that her question just, when will that happen? When will the sister come back in that type of mess for her father to kick her out?
Now, that will be during a bigger family debacle. And it seems that it won't just be completely one-on-one. It seems that it will be very poor timing on everybody's side and a very sore matter. But it looks like the sister will just be adding salt to the wound and this will occur while everybody's a little wound up over a big family disagreement that isn't focused on the sister. However, that could be what prompts the sister to act out, and it's going to turn into a little bit of a family war. My suggestion, what I see in there is, if you can't stop that from happening, if there's some trouble happening with some bad blood between family members already, maybe just let it come up to the surface, and maybe a confrontation is the only way the particular matter will be solved, unfortunately. But it looks like the sister will definitely add vinegar and salt to the wound of that problem and make it worse. As harsh as this may sound, if you didn't cause the problem, don't be the one to solve it, and just keep yourself safe and let the situation work itself out on its own.
She says, yes, she is the one that seems bringing in the drama and not caring who it affects.
Well, if that's due to ego, or if that's due to not being in the right frame of mind, there's something else underneath the surface with that poor gal, which means she's looking for attention she's not getting in a certain way. And this comes down to kind of traits or behavior that began with your mother. I'm not going to be Freudian and blame everything on the mother. That's not always the case. But it seems that's where I see in the cards the real rift and issue begins. And that's the only way it's going to get solved, is to remedy certain tensions between the sister and the mother. They seem to be a lot alike. Maybe they look a lot alike, or they act a lot alike, or they have the same idiosyncrasies, and it's looks like a tug of war. I hope that helps a little bit. Good luck with that situation. I know family dilemmas are never pleasant, especially they can be very hurtful. So light a white candle for peace, and maybe write your sister's name 3 times on a little square piece of paper and put it in a little jar with a little bit of sugar and water and stick it in the back of the freezer and calm her down. Little old-fashioned remedy that kind of goes across the board everywhere. Some people are familiar with that one.
Yeah. Some people are
harmless.
Some people misrepresent what you just said there too, because I've seen that quite a few times as well. She said, yep, attention is what she's seeking, and my mom is the one who wasn't the authority figure for her. So you nailed it right on the head.
I see. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Don't give up on your sister. Love her. She's still your sister, but don't get in her way either. Like I said, light white candles for her, that she finds her way and comes out of this dark moment she's in. Sometimes that's all we need, is someone to say a little prayer and light a candle for us. And it can create miracles.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Selena. Thank you so much for your question tonight. Guys, we're going to kind of, go through these pretty quickly. We're just taking a few questions tonight, but like I said, we will ask Auset to come back with us, and we'll do a few more readings. I just wanted you guys to get a chance to meet some of my friends and who I like to deal with and who I like working with. As you guys know, we have some of the other psychics that join us here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we got the dream interpretations on Thursdays, and we've got more cool and fun psychics coming up as we go along. Even some of our celebrity friends who like to get a few tarot reads or psychic reads here and there, they're going to be joining us as well. So I really hope you guys enjoy this show, and continue to keep liking, subscribe. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, to hit the bell. If you're on Facebook, like the group you're in, and if you're on Twitch, don't hesitate to follow us on there. And all your favorite podcasts like iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and many others, including the podcast on Apple, and we're also now on Amazon Music. So if you guys have Amazon Music or audiobook, you can find us on there. All right, guys. I gotta plug in all that stuff real quick. But
journey is everywhere.
Exactly, and I want to continue to keep doing that and bring in the amazing people that I know to the surface for everybody else to get a chance to see them and hear real word, not the fake nonsense that I've seen out there. You gotta separate the real from the fake. All right, so we got a question from Royal Girl. It says, hello, is the relationship I'm in now long term, and will we be an official couple before my birthday this year?
Ooh, well, when's your birthday? Let's see. We'll pick not the first card, not the second card, but the third card for love. Ooh. Now, this relationship, once it passes its honeymoon period, will receive the Two of Swords. Now, that's tricky in a relationship because, in your case, there's certain defense mechanisms that have been created due to past relationships. And it's not only you, but it's your significant other as well, too. So, however, the two of you did not do anything to each other. Others have hurt the two of you in the past, and these defense mechanisms are still high. Some things will have to be, some defenses will have to be lowered. Try not to become defensive over first arguments or disagreements. These are just signs that the two of you are getting to know each other. Don't be too quick to break up at the first sign of disagreement. On your birthday's in September, but now are you a Virgo or a Libra? Because if you're earlier in September, then I would say also don't apply too many pressures to commitment too early on in the relationship. If you are a Libra, then make sure that your flirtatious nature does not get you into trouble, even though it is just a social charm of yours. So good luck with that relationship. Now I saw a couple of other, yep, that's true. We've been hurt from the past relationship experiences. Leave the past behind. Easier said than done, but leave the past behind and try something new with each other. Get to know each other for who you are now, not who you were before.
Exactly. Thank you, Royal Girl, for your question. It was absolutely wonderful. As we're going to keep on going down the list here, take a couple more. And we're going to go with Jasmine here. Jasmine has a question. It says, does A currently, I'm assuming that's, does A currently have feelings for me? Is there any type of mistrust from his side?
Well, let's see, Princess Jasmine. Let's see. What do the cards hold in store for you with, does A's current have feelings for you? Oh, the two, oops, where's that camera?
There it is.
The Two of Coins. It looks like your carpet riding Aladdin has other things on their mind at the moment. So if they're a little distanced or a little wrapped up in their own mind, it seems that they're juggling two things at once. Is it two jobs at once, or are they going to school and work at once? It just looks like this moment of their life, they're trying to do a couple of things at the same time. But look at that as admirable, because it goes to show they're certainly not lazy. It certainly goes to show that they can handle a couple of things at once. But it's like juggling. You know, the juggler throws one ball in the air, then the second, then the third. You might just have to wait to be one of the second or third balls that get thrown in the air to be juggled. And if this person is really just wrapped up in a couple of things, see how they balance it out. It looks like they're very goal-oriented, and money seems to be one of the big parts of those goals. So I hope that helps a little bit.
All right. All right, guys. We're going to take just two more questions here, but we are going to ask Auset to come back and visit us again so you guys can get a reading show out. And so we're going to ask about two more questions, and then we're going to have a great weekend, and we'll be back Monday evening with readings with myself, Journey Ryan. Again, on Tuesdays, we've got Gift of Faith. Wednesdays, Trinity Black. On Thursdays, Dream Interpretations with Maren. And on Fridays, we do guest spots like we are tonight here with Auset Gypsy to get to know some more psychic advisors and some of our fun people who like to get readings and get to talk about their stories and get a chance to ask them questions as well. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take those few other questions, and then we'll be calling it a night. I just want to say thank thank everybody for joining us tonight. And I really enjoyed this so far. And can't wait to have you back. And let's take a look here.
Well, thank you for having me.
So we got a question.
Suck it to me.
We got a question here from Virgo Queen from YouTube saying hello.
Virgo Queen.
She says, hello, trying to get pregnant this year. So I would like to know if I will find out I'm pregnant for the first time this year. Will I have one baby, twins, or triplets? Twins and triplets run in my family.
Wow. That's really cool. Imagine that's like a small clan.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Virgo Queen. This. Ooh. 7 of coins. In a funny way, it goes to show that hard work pays off. And if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, which is traditionally one of the definitions of that card. Now, I find that answering your question in a very humorous way, and it seems to be all the fun is going to be in the trying, and it seems that it would be probably closer towards the end of summer you would find out, but if a picture says 1,000 words, we'll let this one say it. So, we shall leave it at that. I think you know what that means.
Nice. All right. We're going to keep on going here as I've got questions as we go down the list. All right. I know there's lots of questions. I got more questions than I do time at the moment, guys. But like I said, we'll ask Auset to come back and do a reading show with us like we do here Monday through Friday. So please bear with us. And thank you guys so much for joining the show tonight. It's absolutely amazing. And let me get to Phyllis's question, because Phyllis, you are next on the list. She did say hello to everybody, but I'm not seeing your question, Phyllis. Did you have one for me? All right, Phyllis, we're going to go ahead and...
Phyllis, where are you, Phyllis?
I'm not seeing Phyllis, so she is... if she does come back with her question, we'll be more than happy to answer it, but I'm going to go down to the next one. Let's go ahead and take our question from Emily. All right, Emily's question. Let's get back up here. I got to scroll through a bunch of stuff. So many questions. All right, so Emily wants to know, any more babies in my future after I'm stable, of course?
A lot of baby questions tonight.
I see that. There's a thing tonight.
Maybe not in the near future. It seems to be there could be one disappointment and hiccup along the way. Now, that doesn't look too pleasant, but don't force things that aren't meant to be yet. And especially the end of your question ends in a little bit of a statement saying, after I'm stable, of course. So if right now you're not feeling completely stable for any more babies, I'm sure you're quite content and happy with the ones you have. And just wait for the time to be right. That 4 of Cups goes to show that don't work yourself up to the point of disappointment that could linger longer than it should. So take your time and wait till you're stable, Emily. And good luck with that.
All right. So, all right, let's take this last question here. I'm sorry I didn't get from Phyllis. So we're going to go ahead and take Sanita.
Phyllis, I'll be waiting for you.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sanita. It says, when does...
Sanita, beautiful name.
Sanita. When does... I can't pronounce his name.
Ariate.
Yes, that sounds about right. Closer than what I was going to get to it. Come to me for a long-term relationship.
For a long-term relationship.
For loyalty and stability in 2000.
Oh, with loyalty and stability.
It's a good question.
Ooh, you're asking tall order, miss. Let's see. Love the questions about love. Oh, the King of Cups. It might take until about summertime, Sunita, so take your time with it. If this card is any indication of what your lover seems like, there's a little bit of an old-fashioned traditional value to this person. So they might be preoccupied with their immediate family. And if that takes up a lot of their time, that might be something that the two of you might have to work out. But then it also goes to show that when you finally get their loyalty, you know that they're loyal to family. And it seems to be here that it's not going to be until late spring, early summer that you might see this person come around and ready for a long-term relationship. When the sun goes into the constellation of Cancer in the Western zodiac, that's going to be a good indication of when they're ready. And that should be the moment you grab it and seize it. Until then, just keep chatting with the goddess of love and making sure that she's whispering in your lover's ear your name.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sunita, for your question. And hopefully you understood everything that's coming your way, because I've seen good things coming your way. Just be prepared for it. All right. Well, this has been an awesome show. And like I was telling everybody, we're going to have you come back and put forth some more readings for people, as we, like I said, we had more questions than we do time at this moment. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has reached out to us tonight, and I will be more than happy to announce the next time Auset will be joining us. And like he said, he'll be talking about his tarot cards coming out soon, so get ready for that. And we'll plug in the email, or not email, but website address, so you guys can check out some of his merchandise and things like that. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure hearing your story, and where you come from and how that came about, and just all the great information you shared with us tonight.
Oh, there are plenty more stories where that come from.
I'm
a whole
sure.
other hour and a half next.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and it was so good to catch back up. It's been too long, and you're a wonderful audience. I enjoyed everybody tonight, and I look forward to doing brief intro card readings again the next time. And I'm already counting the minutes and the days until I'm a guest on your show again.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Auset. All right, guys, we will be back tomorrow, or Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern to do readings with myself, Journey Ryan. Until then, you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon.